With the addition of the new Paragon Trees, we have now a new path to go max damage, and I'm also going to talk a little bit about these trees themselves, but I want to see how much damage we can squeeze out of these trees right as we hit Paragon 150. Let's get into it. All right, so we are into the Paragon menu, and I'm going to reset my points here and go full damage. Now, it's important to note that when you're picking out your specs for your trees, these attributes are permanent. I say this many times, but people still don't seem to understand or know that these attributes are always going to be here. So it's one of the best ways to squeeze out some extra stats in your character, whereas these skills are only active if you activate your tree. So one potentially really solid one is Deeper Pockets, for example, for the extra inventory rows for you free-to-play players out there. Now, what we're talking about today is squeezing out as much damage as we possibly can. Now, currently, normally I have about 6,900 damage on my wizard. And when we look at the trees here, we notice that we have 30 damage up in front of this Vanquisher tree. And this is the easiest way to get some damage out. So we're gonna go and dump all of our potential points into this damage. So we've dumped in a total of 31 points into Vanquisher. Survivor has damage very far down into the tree. So we're going to skip that one for now because it will take a little bit of time to get to that one. Treasure Hunter is actually the next one up because it has a very quick damage, 15 damage actually, right here up at the start. So there is our next portion of damage. Gladiator, very far back into the tree, but if you are PvPing, this is absolutely worth it, so I would recommend it. But Soldier here has early damage as well. You could see here, if we go ahead and drop some points into it, 15 damage into another 15, or 15 resistance into a 15 damage, and then we could do this exact same thing for Mastermind here later on. We're gonna go ahead and drop all of our points into this, which also give us Armor Pen, which is also a massive damage increase, but there's an additional 20 damage. So now we have all those damage numbers, and we could try to go for damage here, but it is a little bit farther away. So we will go, however, with the Armor Pen because Armor Pen will increase our damage. And then we're gonna check around here because there's another Armor Pen right here. So we're gonna hover back over and go in for some more Armor Pen. Again, Armor Pen is the other way you can increase your damage. And so this is kind of what a max damage / Armor Pen setup looks like when we are checking these out. Now there's a little bit more Armor Pen here as well. And so as we increase our Paragon points, we will have access to a crazy amount of extra damage. Vanquisher is obviously one of the best ways to get some extra damage out of your character. But if we just go ahead and check here, we're at 7130, so we gained about 200 damage just by speccing into some additional points. Not only that, but my Armor Pen has gone up about 30 points, which has increased my critical hit damage by about 5%, which is really solid, specifically in PvE content, specifically even more further in dungeons when you have a satyr. So that will make you do a lot more damage. So right here is what we look at when we have our max damage builds for the Paragon tree. Once again, what it should look like is 51 points into Vanquisher if we're looking for that Armor Pen, 21 into Treasure Hunter, 5 into Gladiator, 31 into Soldier, and 42 into Mastermind is what I'm running. Now, if you happen to have a little bit of extra points, or you want to spec into a different tree, or you want to just go ahead and preemptively prepare for the additional damage instead of going for Armor Pen, you can straight up go Gladiator and just dump into additional point here, 10 more here, 10 more here, 1 here, 10 into life, and then go for the damage because that is the other damage. And then the final damage that you'll end up unlocking is the Survivor, which is farther into the tree as well. You can see here, you're gonna have to dump 10 points into here, 15 into here, as well as pick up some of these other skills in order to unlock the Survivor's damage. So overall, very solid amount of extra damage that we were able to get. 200 damage isn't a crazy amount for me, but for some of you free-to-play players out there, it might actually matter a ton. Now, in terms of the actual trees themselves for Soldier and Mastermind, would I recommend using these new Paragon 150 trees? I did a kind of a video of the trees preemptively, but we need to know if they are exactly the same. And I've kind of gone through them already, and I'll briefly go over the skills once again here, and it looks like they are exactly the same. So the soldier tree is a party-based tree, which will reduce your damage when you're within range of party members, which is decently a decent damage reduction. Then we have the enemy player killed within 15 yards by one of your party members increases your damage. Once again, a very niche skill, but with your party nearby. Then we have Combat Veteran. This means that battle morale can stack up to 8 times, which is this one right here. And then First Aid is also reduced to 180 seconds, which this means that whenever you drop below 15% of your life, while party members are within 5 yards, which is a very, very short radius, you will gain First Aid, recovering 15% of your maximum life over 3 seconds. Not a crazy heal, definitely impactful though. Then we have Sacrifice, and this is going to grant our death additional 15% damage reduction to all party members within 15 yards. So overall, just pure party member spec here with extra damage reduction, as well as a little bit of extra damage increase and some healing. However, the healing is such a short radius that I wouldn't even recommend or even say that you could reliably get some value out of this if you have all ranged units and you're a melee unit. That may not happen, or if you're PvPing or something like that. The battle morale factor that's stacking 8 times. Are you really going to be able to stack up to 8 kills of enemy players within 15 yards in 10 seconds? Maybe, maybe not. But even with 8, it's only increasing your damage by 24%. And that is a significant amount, but you need to kill 8 players within 10 seconds of each other. So 10 seconds, you kill the first one, and then the next 10 seconds, you kill the second one, etc., etc. So this is very, very hard to pull off. And then, of course, we need to make sure that we are getting our damage reduction by staying together within 15 yards. Now, 15 yards is a decent radius. 5 yards kind of looks like about right here on the map. You'll see this is about 5 yards. 15 obviously is triple this, so you have to stay within this circle if you want to go ahead and get that First Aid, but the 15 yards is very, very doable. So overall, a okay tree. I just don't see you using this a whole lot of the time, because you generally just want to go for extra PvE damage, or Gladiator Tree for the cheat death. These are both exceptional. And then, of course, Treasure Hunter if you are running the extra open world farming and want to grind a little bit more. Then we have Mastermind here, and this one's a little bit more interesting, but the very, very unique little caveat to this is 4 different classes are needed in your party. So once again, a party tree, but you need 4 different classes in order to get these bonuses. And this is 3% extra skill damage while your party member has your party has members from 4 different classes within 5 yards. Very, very short radius once again. This also does not accumulate from multiple sources. So this means that only one person can run this tree and really get a lot of value out of it. The same thing for mutual defense, except it's 3% damage reduction. Then we have covert operations, which give us 2.5% crit hit chance for each different class, up to 10%. Then we have find weakness. While your party has members from 4 different classes, your attacks have a 5% chance to make the boss vulnerable for 3 seconds, which basically increases your damage dealt to them by 20%. Very, very solid. Honestly, this is the most important thing in this tree, along with the covert operations. And this could be potentially good for challenge rifts as well as Heliquary bosses. However, you need to make sure that 4 different classes are in your party. Then we have superior coordination, and this increases the radius from 5 yards to 10 yards, which is a much better radius, and it will increase to about right here, about from screen edge to middle of the screen is about 10 yards. So that is very, very solid in terms of being able to get those bonuses. You're oftentimes within that radius. 5 yards is a little short, but 10 yards is much better. But once again, the bonuses themselves are pretty mediocre. 3% extra skill damage and 3% reduced damage is not a whole lot. The big things that you're looking out for are the find weakness and the covert operations. But even then, you're going to need 4 classes. 10% crit chance isn't even a whole lot, especially if you have Satyr in your party. You're going to have guaranteed crits. The find weakness is the thing I'm most excited about, to be honest. And that's really, really impactful for things like Heliquary when you are trying to burst down the boss or just need a little bit of extra damage and your whole party can make use out of it. But there you go. There's going to be the max damage Paragon trees, as well as my thoughts on the new trees once again. And I think that a lot of players will benefit from running a full damage Paragon tree if you want to farm a little bit quicker for dungeons, for open world. And I'll be going over a little bit of the reasons why it actually does help. However, I would not recommend sacrificing treasure hunter bonuses if you are purely open world farming. I think that the treasure hunter is much, much better for you. At least the top 54 points into treasure hunter, the top 2 rows, as you can see right here. That's going to be prioritized if you're open world farming a lot. But other than that, go for the extra damage, go for the armor pen. It's going to help you in dungeons, and that's a lot of what we're going to be farming because we have 6-piece set items. So hopefully you enjoyed, and I will be coming out with more wizard content as well as some more set item builds in the future. So be sure to hit that sub button if you are interested, and I will see you in the next video.